Look there on the Juju's with Thresh. Cannot defend her. I cannot believe.
It's got to be the game.
I can let the final.
Mickey Well gets in behind him, trying to turn it in Radiant. Wave onto everyone. Triple kill for Radiant and Mickey Well, last man standing. It's a slugfest. Double kill, triple kill, double kill, quadra kill, double kill, triple kill. My God, that was amazing.
Looks on, Big Swift has gone mega, but they killed us support. Can't connect the chain, and Destiny, Hook is on. Swiffer is dead, Ray locked down Raze. Trippies gets that kill, and Spooks is stuck between the entire Wolfpack. Double kill for Fantix, they're running towards the Nexus.
Hello and welcome to day 2 of week 3 of the OPL, of course brought to you by Hungry Jacks. You're getting a look at Avant Gaming. They're going to be taking to Summoner's Rift in game number 1 today against Legacy Esports, who are currently undefeated yet to drop a game. Should be an absolute banger of a match. You see Mimic there on your screen, Korean patch on his shoulder. Hello everyone, my name is Jake Spawn Tiberi. Joining me is Bryce, EG and Paul. And today is going to be a pretty exciting day of League of Legends because I feel like we said yesterday all the players were back, but today is the day that means a lot.
Today is the freshest day of League of Legends for the season. We get to see Bombers without their 2 subs, get to see the full strength lineup, and you did just mention in the opener there, Mimic. First big name Korean import, I think, is how you described him coming into the league so far.
Yeah, I mean, we had Cookie and Bomb, they were on the Hellions, and I mean,
Struggling.
they were bought over more as, you know, people that knew Tay or Ryu, who was their captain at the time, whereas Mimic definitely more of a player that has played professionally overseas, been scouted before, and is looking to make a big impact.
Yeah, he's played in the EU Challenger Series on Millennium, has been a little bit of a break in between now and then, a couple of splits ago, but interesting to see how he slots into the Legacy lineup.
Yeah, certainly will, as we bring the schedule up onto your screen. Yesterday it was the Chiefs Esports Club taking down Tectonic, pretty emphatic fashion in the end, although Tectonic did put up a pretty good fight. Then Order took to Summoner's Rift with some strange compositions we necessarily haven't seen before and took down Sin Gaming. Of course, today we've got Avant Gaming taking on Legacy Esports before the Direwolves try and take down the Bombers, who are yet to win a single game, have yet to take flight. However, this first time we are going to see Sleeping and Luke play for the team. So track that game a little bit more eagerly. Before we get into today's matchups, though, I want to go a little bit broader, talk to you about a meta thing. We saw 2 Jannas so far, one a little bit more successful than the other.
Yeah, we've seen Tilting and Rogue playing it now so far. One of them was, largely successful, and one of them was not, unfortunately. But I think I mentioned it yesterday in that the meta is still fairly similar to 8.1 now that we're on 8.2, but I think this is the catalyst for change here. We're seeing the Janna, and I don't think it'll be too long till we start seeing things like the Karma, the Lulu coming up, more damage in the bot lane as people start playing more aggressive with Relic Shield gone.
How much is it reliable on top lane as well? Because we've seen, you know, Gangplank picked up Nah. None of these champions are really like hard engage. They're kind of pseudo engage or secondary engage, as we like to say. How much is it, you know, picking up things like Karma, I mean, Soraka, Nami, Janna? They don't really give you an engage button because it's not being played in the top lane. It really becomes telegraph. We saw yesterday with Sin's comp, they kind of relied on Zac a little bit too.
Yeah, 100%. I mean that you do look towards the jungle for a lot of your engaged tools. Sejuani, Jarvan, we see only playing for first up versus Legacy. He's literally played 4 Jarvan games of the season so far, so see if things do change up. We did see Relic Shield still sneak its way into Tally's inventory in the top lane, so get rid of that one.
Yeah, of course, it has a Bandit passive on it, and with the Kleptomancy procs, it just guarantees that 10 gold every single time he shoots someone. I think he was even in CS and up 800 gold or something like that. I don't like Gangplank as a champion. Sorry, I'm a big fan of Jarvan, especially when he goes full AD. But, I mean, what does that kind of mean, these support items running around? It's just a lot of hidden power that you don't necessarily find elsewhere. We saw Nidalee still going towards support item as well. I mean, what was the reasoning there?
Oh, I mean, it just gives you a little bit of gold. I did mention that it doesn't get the tribute stacks as often. It does get punished now by killing the jungle minions, so you don't get it up every 12 seconds every time you kill something. So Spooks did opt into it, and I have spoken to him since, because I kind of roasted him on cast, and he says he thinks it's still good. But I think the point of the 8.2 patch was to remove support items out of non-support players' inventories. So maybe at patch 8.3 coming through in another couple of weeks will completely fix the job.
They've done half of it. Let's see if they can get the other half done. However, guys, before we dive into today's first game, let's check in with Laura at the Analyst Hangout.
Thank you very much, guys. Today, I'm joined by Rogue on the analyst couch.
Hey, guys.
Coming in after a big win yesterday. How are you feeling after yesterday's games?
Oh, very good. A lot better. I don't feel like I'm on the brink of death anymore.
Yeah, you've been a bit under the weather.
A little bit sick. Had a bit of a nap. Woke up this morning, had some waffles. Not the best brekkie, but oh yeah, that'll do it. Now I feel better.
And
So
you got to play Thresh yesterday.
yeah, that was good. My team wanted me to play Janna because I was a little bit sick, but I was like, screw you guys. I'm a Thresh player. So I just picked it and turned into a Lantern bot by the end because a bit sick still. So oh well, same champion.
That's a good excuse to pick
Yeah.
Thresh, right? Yeah. This first game, Avant versus Legacy, a lot of people are thinking it's the game of the week. What are your thoughts on it? And
Definitely.
who do you think is gonna win?
I'm actually so excited for this match because like these are two like actually really good teams and they're versing and like Mimic like as a top laner, I've had the chance to play with him and against him a bunch. He's like actually insane. So I can't wait till like people can actually see him play, see how good he is on these mechanical champions now. But yeah, like this is going to be a really close match. Either way, it's going to be 2-1. I'm just going to tip AV. I feel like you're going to tip Legacy. I always just like to throw a spinner in the works. Let's make it a bit competitive, why don't we?
Why not?
Yeah.
All right, let's put bets on it. I think it's going to be a 2-0
All right. Well, all right, you're going to lose.
to Legacy.
That's fine.
We both could be wrong.
Okay, no, I'm going to be right.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
if you at home would like to make your own
Okay.
tips and see if Rogue's going to be wrong, make sure you head on over to opltips.com.au. We have $25, $50, and $100 Hungry Jacks vouchers up for grabs, as well as XP boosts and RP prizes. For more information on those prizes, make sure you do head on over to the website at opltips.com.au. Also, Rogue will be answering your questions later on today, so if you have anything you'd like to ask him, make sure you post on our Facebook or at our Twitter at OPL using the hashtag #LikeNoOther.
Ask me what's on my notepad.
You should.
Maybe I'll
actually.
tell
It's
you.
pretty entertaining. Thank you for your predictions, Rogue. But to
Secret.
get this series started, let's hand it over to Jake and Bryce.
Thanks so much, Laura, and I'm very happy that I'm not the one interviewing Rogue anymore. Last gauntlet, last year, Rogue just roasted me every interview, and Sid kept setting him up, so very happy that is no longer the case.
You got out scot-free now, yeah.
Yeah, exactly
just
right.
Palmed him off to Laura.
Yeah, it certainly did. Let's talk about Mimic a little bit more. Tell me about him. What does he play? What's his champion pool look like?
I mean, coming into the season, honestly, I didn't think he was like a big carry threat. You think of the two top laners imported into the league this season, Mimic and Sleeping. Sleeping is like the mega carry player, but then it turns out getting close to the 2018 split, that's what Mimic has been known for. Really big Gangplank player, really big Camille player. His champion pool, at least in solo queue, from what we've seen, we haven't seen any competitive games and obviously don't get to watch scrims, but there's about 30 games played on those two, and then it drops off to Nar at about 6 games. So very different than what I expected coming into the league.
Yeah, it certainly is. We'll see whether that is just his climbing champion pool, because a lot of the time pro players will have champions they climb with, and then once they get to high elo, then they will continue to play the game. Of course, he's going to be going up against Pabu today, who was able to, at least in the laning phase, kind of put Swiper in a little bit of the bin, but
in
then
a hole.
Swiper, the Armored Titan, ever resilient, clawed his way back out.
He did. I do want to go a little bit deeper on that as well, because I watched that game, right, and I watched it back again, and Pabu did get a lead in both games, Nah into Ornn matchup, and I was like, why can't he convert this? What is AV doing wrong? I was like, okay, maybe he's not getting enough vision to effectively split in the side lane, but pre-20 minutes in the first game where we had the biggest lead out of the two, Only was always getting him the vision on that side of the map. It's just, I think, a little bit of undisciplined play from AV, getting caught on the other side, netted Ryoma in that game a few kills, and then Galio couldn't get unlocked onto the map, so he was just getting shoved in. Ryoma had control of the mid lane, which means Chiefs in that matchup had control of 2 waves, and then Pabu only had the 1 and just couldn't do enough, and that allowed the Armor Titan Swiper, you said, to get back into the game. So if they can kind of clean up the play, and it'll be interesting to see if they do go for that style again today against Mimic, who Rogue just said he's insane. We've heard differing opinions. Some people say he's literally the best top laner on the server. Then you hear people go, oh, like he's good, but like he's not quite, I don't know, like up to Chippy's level, you know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see the first competitive game where he does actually rank up.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at the Avant lineup, because that's who they're going to have to go through. It's going to be Pabu in the top laner. Only is his jungler, and I say his jungler because he camps the lane very heavily. Frey is their mid laner. Blinky and Jake are there. AD carry and support Joe, the Bash Bros down there. Pinch is their coach, and of course they're going to be going up against the new look Legacy lineup. Mimic will be making his OPL debut in the top lane. Sybil is their jungler. Claire is their captain and mid laner. Raid and Decoy is the new look bottom lane for Legacy, and of course Soul Strike's a big brain down there as the support. Sorry, coach.
Supporting the team from
Supporting
behind
the
the
coach,
microphone
yeah.
in the draft phase. You know?
But talk to
100%.
me about Red and Deco, because this is a lineup. Last year you would have said, both average players
Middle of the pack
best,
at
but,
best, yeah.
they seem to be finding some footholds.
I feel like Raid has leveled up a little bit, but Decoy is where the big difference is. Last season, a lot of people wouldn't have really known his name, I guess, for the most part. But now coming into this season, really stepped it up. I think the Korean bootcamp helped him out immensely. We haven't got to see like a lot of those changes because of the current support meta. It has been pretty stale on the bot lane, and you looked at that graphic. He's literally played 4 games of Braum. So, like, how can you kind of show off your skills on
To be fair,
Braum?
I also checked out his Korean solo queue account, and let
He
me tell
played
you,
Braum.
there was a lot of doorman in there as well.
I mean, like, he likes Braum, but I'd be interested to see some sort of variety, right? But I think they are definitely kind of like a middle-of-the-pack bot lane here, and they will be looking to challenge up.
Yeah, and I'll see whether they're able to do that. Of course, yesterday we got a look at arguably the best bottom lane. If you look at, damage share, kill participation, all that, in order, they were able to take, I think, a 5.5, 6 minute turret. I think wave 2, it had lost 1,500 health already. Absolutely insane game. Of course, as the bans come through, it is going to be Camille and Gangplank taken away by Avant Gaming. So attacking those 2 highest paid by Mimic.
The big 2 already.
It's going to be Callista as well as the Cogmore, targeted towards Blinky. Blinky, in my mind, is actually one of the best Callista players on the server. Certainly his most comfortable champion.
Yep. But unfortunately, won't be getting that one this game with Legacy banning that away. And I'm looking at this draft, and I think AV are going to play the similar style that they played against Chiefs. They're looking to target out Mimic, banning away his best champions. And there goes Claire Azir, one of his best champions that he has performed so far on this split.
Also, if you want to play 1-4, Azir is real annoying to play into because you can never get control over a secondary wave. Azir just controls that mid lane. Malzahar gets taken away. One of the easiest to execute mid laners. Literally, just go minion, dematerializer, shove the wave very hard, get a base, flash ultimate someone.
Very easy. Even you can do it, man.
I honestly think I could play Malzahar to level 8. And then I wouldn't be able to play it anymore.
Ooh, Caitlyn first pick.
Caitlyn first pick. We saw it prioritized pretty heavily yesterday by Order once again. Has risen in popularity.
But interestingly, we saw in the graphic when the teams came up, AB's bot lane have basically only played Tarm and Shen and defensive 80 carries. So they're picking up the Caitlyn for that lane pressure early. So switching it up here in week 3.
But we talk about lane pressure in 2 ways, right? You either push and stay around to hit the turret, or you push, and leave, somewhere else and just like kind of hang around. So it'd be interesting to see what style they play. It's going to be Mimic's Gnar priority picked and Claire Zoe. One of the more obnoxious champions. Is that a good word to use for Zoe?
100%. I mean, just ask Reddit. Obnoxious is definitely, if you just control over Zoe in any thread, like I feel like you'd find obnoxious in there somewhere.
All right, good. Just checking it out. Of course, they're going to be going up against a Ryze Jarvan combo as far as level 2 ganks go. Actually the best in the game. E into W is a 2-second snare. Jarvan's got a knock up. I mean, you can't really take summoner spells to get out of that combo.
I mean, not to mention in 2018, we've seen Claire just not flash that one first game of the split versus Jews and walks in with an EQ, flag and drag, and it's like, all right, I'll cop that. I'll cop that to the face, and then goes down early. See if that happens this game.
And I mean, this is a counter pick to Caitlyn that we've seen a lot. Varus. Good lane pressure, still has kill threat. Is it a big raid champion? I feel like it is.
Yeah, I think he's more of a utility 80 carry overall. When Ashe was meta, he was a very good Ashe player.
Very good Jhin player last split.
Yep, absolutely. Has that CC to line up things for his team. And I mean, like, on this roster right now, he isn't looking to be a big carry threat. Claire, I think, we're only 2 weeks into the split. Now week 3, we've seen 2 weeks, but he is an absolute monster. I think this could potentially, I mean, I'm calling it very early, be his best split to date.
I think Claire, for me so far, Claire and FBI are like the 2 people leading like the MVP race in the undefeated teams. If Legacy obviously go undefeated today, they will join Order on all 9 points at the top of the table. But I feel like Claire last year was playing a lot of that champion that just got banned in the Karma. But this year has had a little bit more freedom and luxury in the draft to take very strong picks and be able to carry.
Yeah, he has. Doesn't have that 80 carry and lost, just stealing all his draft priority there. So Lucio, Soul Strikes, is giving him a bit more priority, as you said. Only is going to play his 5th game of Jarvan for the season.
Yeah, of course. Everyone at home, as we were talking about MVP, will be able to have their own vote. Because you on Twitter can have your say. You can vote on the Radiant Medal.
Yeah, 100%.
30% of the vote, I believe it was. Something like that. See how it goes. It's going to be the Shen taken away as well as the Zac. So Sejuani probably going to be the jungler of choice for Sybil. It's strange getting rid of Zac when there's like the big 3 engage tools. Normally, if you're going to hit Zac there, you would hit Sedge as well.
And Sejuani as well, yeah, 100%. Jarvan obviously taken away already, but the Sedge is still available. Blinky Probably not going to be picking that Ashe as they've already got a Caitlyn.
I mean, some crazy spellbook mid lane Ashe combo.
No, support Ashe. Back when Ardent Sensor, Bond of Stone.
Yeah, that was fun.
You could proc it with Bond of Stone, use W, get the slow, and then Ardent Sensor's procced off that little heal there. I like that one, but definitely not good. Oh, we see Jake Nami. He's a Nami main.
Jake is a...
He's the Nami guy.
As Blinky would like to call it, Nami in the bottom lane.
Is this a Talia situation,
no,
or is it actually
I think
just...
this is a Kiwi situation.
Yeah, okay.
So,
the NZ Sniper Blinky.
Yeah, Blinky...
If you haven't seen that content from AV, that was his old summoner name or IGN. He was XNZ X Sniper X. So
yeah.
Go bully him about that one on Twitter.
And Ornn going to be picked up potentially for Parbu in the top lane.
Into the Narm.
Yeah, I mean, that is actually him picking himself into a counter pick, as we saw last week. However, lots of teamfight utility, and potentially what they want to do here is just have Frey match the split push, and Ornn will be grouping up with, you know, the Caitlyn, the Nami, as well as the Janna, and there's a lot of safety there. You can't really engage through those three champions, and Caitlyn should just be able to take pot shots at the turret.
Yeah, absolutely. As Taric will be the last lock-in to round out Legacy's bot lane there. So a lot of CC coming up from the bot side. You have that Taric. You have that Varus, nice setup there. They'll be looking to get onto the Caitlyn, because this is a pseudo Caitlyn Janna situation we saw yesterday. Obviously, AV haven't gone the order style completely draft around this pushing bot lane, but
I would argue it's like less pushing, but more lane bullying.
Yeah,
because
100%.
if you ever hold the wave here, you get High Caller's Blessing, I believe it is. The E from Nami, and if she maxes that, which in a Caitlyn... Normally you have to max ebb and flow in a Nami. Well, you would know more about this, but if you have a safe 80 carry and you can start maxing the E, it does a surprising amount of damage.
It's also not much about safety of versus AD carry. It's about trading patterns, right? If you have a long-range Caitlyn that can abuse a range advantage, then putting extra points in E means that you, Nami, don't have to step forward and be trading yourself.
Okay.
You just get that extra value by giving it to the Caitlyn, and then she abuses her range advantage, and obviously you throw a heal around every now and again. But even in a range versus melee matchup for the Nami here into the Taric, be interesting to see what he does choose to do, because you could happily max the W, max the heal, and just start flinging things at Taric.
What was your preferred method? Or did you like max W, max E?
I was max W for the most part, but I think it is just dependent on meta. I think there's less stylistic choice between the player, and I think it is just kind of matchup dependent for the most part, at least at the top level.
All right, and you're expecting, come on, money where mouth is. Prove to me you are still challenger
W.
Elo.
I think W. Just because range versus melee. Yeah, no, I think it's W. I think he's going to be putting points in W.
Cop-out answer.
Trying to bully around, decoying in his first.
So is she a 3-point champion? Because in solo queue, like what a lot of people don't realize as we're about to get into game one is, in solo queue, you generally like hard max something.
Yeah.
But champions like Rise and competitive, you know, 3 points E, then start max, 3 points Q, start maxing E. There's like some weird combos in there. Is Nami one of those champions that you go all the way to the end, or do you go 3 points and then start maxing Q for the cooldown?
I mean, it kind of depends on the length of the laning phase. You can happily do the Thresh thing where you put 3 points in Flay on Nami, where you put 3 points in W for lane bully potential, and then just start maxing E. Or maxing the bubble. That's actually in terms of stylistic choices on the Nami, you do have people, depending on team composition and choosing to max the bubble second instead of that tie call.
Yeah, I'm a bubble second Nami player. However, we do have a coach's interview. It's going to be Pinch standing alongside with Laura.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm standing here alongside Pinch. Now, Mimic will be making his first appearance today in the top lane. How do you think Parbu will fare against him?
Very well. We've practiced a lot of this on into our matchup, and we think Jackson's really good at it. We'll just beat them in team fights, and the 1v1 lane won't even be a factor.
We've seen that Legacy put 4 bans towards that bot lane. Was this something that you were expecting, and is Jake happy to be playing Nami today?
Jake is very happy to play Nami. We played a lot of it this week. We played a lot of Caitlyn Nami, so the 80 carry bans didn't really affect us because we were going to pick Caitlyn anyway.
And taking a look at Legacy's draft composition, is there anything that worries you or any dangers that you can see?
Well, they could win through split push. We haven't played against much Zoe, so there is that pick element, but we have the better 5v5 and we can play a third lane, so we should be good.
Well, best of luck with the series, and thank you for talking to us today.
Cheers. Thanks so much.
So Pinch, I would say incredibly confident.
Yeah,
incredibly confident.
Yes, absolutely. Not even a problem. Though, got to pick it anyway. And Jakey's actually gone for the Ignite on Nami as well, looking for that lane bully potential.
I actually think if you play range into melee support, you have to take Ignite, because if you cannot kill them and they can all in you with Exhaust, you just have to burn the summoner spell so early, and then there's a window where, I mean, once again, I'm trying to teach a fisherman how to fish, I feel a little bit here, but do you agree?
Yeah, to some extent. It's obviously, League of Legends is a lot matchup based, and so like I can give you like examples. I don't know, if you're against a melee and Blitzcrank, you're probably not going to be taking that Ignite because you're going to be sitting as far back as possible and getting the hell out of dodge.
Take
yeah,
barrier.
just go heal barrier that one.
Go the resolve tree.
Yeah.
Just get yourself 120 L.
Try and survive that hook when it comes out and punish him between the windows. But they do already have this push. They are getting some chip damage on the turret. I don't expect it to be as large of a chip as we saw yesterday, but...
Well, we're seeing a difference in style already because Order at this stage, I went back and watched the fast push of the game, were using majority of their auto attacks on the melee as he was stepping up. And then what happened to Tahm Kench is, like, by wave 2, he'd burnt 3 potions.
Yep.
And then could no longer step up, and then there was no danger of hitting the turret.
Yep.
Whereas that wave, you saw that Blinky put every single auto attack into the turret, put 0 into the Taric, even when he had the Tide Caller's Blessing on him. What are your thoughts on this? Is there anything to it?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I think investing on these early waves, you don't do as much damage when you're just shoving an individual wave. If you build up a large one and can get some poke in between, you do get overall a lot more turret damage. So see how they play it up from now.
Talk to me also about the Sightstone evolve here, because I feel like this is one of those things that Taric going to struggle to get there very early. Hold that thought as we're going to
swap
see.
sides.
Claire, he actually grabbed a heal for himself. They do the do-si-do and swap sides. And Frey, because of his confidence in stepping forward, actually takes a boatload of damage there.
Yeah. Does get punished in that... Sybil is walking down the topside river as well, so Claire's still looking for a trade.
Sleepy Trouble Bubble hits, and that might be a lot of damage going across, but Claire also now very low. Flash forward, 1 auto attack away. Claire will live. 2 summoner spells for 1, so he does come out ahead and also has a potion sitting there.
And you can see it right now. He wants to stay. He wants to stick around in the lane, but he's literally on 1 auto's worth of damage right now. He's chugging the pot, and he still has another one available. So,
but will not. He thinks that he will not be able to shove that in. He is wrong because minion dematerializer. And actually, I mean, hold that thought. That bottom's already a turret's already on half health. Ooh, did Claire just use 2 swaps?
No. He burnt the flash. He didn't burn the cleanse.
Yeah, and now he has flash on his other one. So, I mean, you want to rephrase your no, he did it?
I mean, I do. Yes, absolutely. I'll take that one. Thank you. Lock it in.
So what he's done there, for those that are wondering what we're arguing about, he used he used flash, right?
Let's get a replay.
Let's
just get a replay of that one. We'll figure it out for sure rather than speculating.
Yeah. So he used one of his summoner spells.
Potentially swapped out both of them so we can have the flash and TP.
Because, of course, you would have a couple at this stage of the game. You get one every 5 minutes after that. Blinky going to continue to shove in this wave. Do you feel like Varus ever equalizes?
I mean, not really with the Taric. I think once you do start getting pushed in by this Nami and the Kaelin, it's very hard to get yourself out of that situation. Taric doesn't offer a lot in terms of influencing the wave without burning his stun.
For sure. So, I was wrong. You were right. He only burnt 1. He's a cleanse on D player.
Yep.
Flash on F player.
Everyone
knows that you put flash on D because it's a dash.
I put flash on D. Ignites on F.
Yeah.
There's no other summoner spell, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to say that on broadcast, actually, as Claire goes aggressive one more time.
We do have to take a look at the top lane real quick, though. There's about a 10 CS lead right now. Mimic is bullying around, but this wave will crash. Pabu sitting pretty low on mana.
But has the Ignite, and Mimic is quite squishy still until, you know, he gets a couple of items. Pabu, in literally melee range, just starts banging away at the anvil. So I'd be interesting to see whether
there he goes again.
The Jarvan gets up here.
And it's cloth armor. Fancy that against a Gnar. He's just getting ranged auto attacks to death. He builds himself that cloth armor, but as you mentioned, Jarvan only is walking to the top side. Level 6 has been popped. We saw, I want to call out someone really quick. In terms of Ornn play last week, we saw Sirius miss a large number of his Ornn ultis there in clutch moments.
Okay, how many did he miss?
Yeah, I think I actually went back and I watched the stats. He had a 65% hit rate, but the other person who's unexpected, the Armor Titan Swiper in his Ornn game, only landed 56. So Series
wasn't as bad as he thought.
Wasn't even the worst. He might have missed them in the most visually like the worst ways to look at. You're like, oh, that was very important. You know what I mean? But Swiper overall just, I don't know, needs to work on his skill shot accuracy with that Ornn ulti. See if Pabu can do better.
Yeah, I mean, potentially the reason he stopped playing Maokai now that Ultimate's a skill shot.
Is that a skill shot? That's as wide as hell. Oh, okay. I mean, it probably is, technically.
Good fun with DOS. Very, both of us are actually very good friends of Swiper. So I think he's still playing all right.
Yeah, but this game's been fairly passive for the most part right now. Claire looking to travel with his jungler Sybil up into the top side. They might look for a dive onto Pabu here, but he does have the vision. They're just looking at the blue buff right now.
I mean, this is really smart because bottom lane certainly in control of Avant Gaming right now, whereas top side completely Legacy controlled. So you can see they go in pretty much uncontested for that blue.
Yeah, but is this a bad split though? Because if Only can get the pressure down on the bot side, this turret is already lower. You have two champions, the Caitlyn and the Nami, instead of just the Gnar whacking away at the turret. So if Legacy force this split and this turret's already low, they're only level 5 on the side of Decoy and Raid right now, so they don't have access to those CC ultimates and the invulnerability. So before that point, they will be easy to
very
dive.
nice bubble into trap combo misses.
Yep.
Bummer.
And I feel like there has been an opportunity missed by Only. He's gone for the blue steal to take that one away. Wants to equalize the trade, but they didn't look for any pressure on the bot side.
Yeah, I think the biggest discrepancy here was the fact that Raid, with that spellbook, actually used teleport to get back to lane, therefore he's level 6, whereas Blinky walked it out. And therefore, even though this is actually big, uses a cleanse. That's going to be
double flash.
A really nice gank coming in, because now I feel like they have to leave the time.
Yeah, that's pretty greedy play out of Legacy. They have no idea where the Jarvan is, and they knew that Sybil was on the top side of the map briefly before. Now down on their side, but they go for the engage anyway, trying to burn out the cleanse and commit slightly too hard, lose both their flashes, and this is really low. That's going to go down.
And I mean, this is the second game where we've seen fast push League of Legends coming out. That's the turret gone, although teleport now coming in. Will be cancelled. No, it won't be cancelled. He got there. Nami bubble to disengage. You see, in comes the Zoe Sleepy Trouble bubble. Will just miss. And Mimic will tumble in. And I feel like now Mimic in the bottom lane loses a lot of tempo advantage. Ornn actually going to be up in CS.
100% Mimic wishes that got cancelled right now, as they couldn't even lock on to the AV's bot lane. They both have access to the cleanse there. Jakey swapped that heal out, or the ignite, sorry, rather, for that cleanse. So he didn't even flash the Sleepy Trouble bubble. He was just like, if it hits me, I'm going to cleanse it and walk away anyway, so he's fine. They just walk out of that one, holds all of his summoners, and they got the turret on the side of AV, so the opportunity cost for Legacy is big.
In. I mean, I feel like this is the first week pinch back, and the first time we've actually seen very good macro play coming out of Avant. Actually, week 1 they played the macro well. Week 2 was kind of sloppy.
Yep.
So you see, lane swap coming in from both teams, actually. Legacy reading it well.
As, yeah, Mimic just going to catch that wave. We do actually see Legacy match it somewhat. They do opt in for the tier. I think we saw the tier on Nami, actually.
Did we really?
Yeah, I think we did.
I think that's a great adaptation.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just gone straight Spell Thief, of course. We mentioned it briefly yesterday, but he doesn't have to invest in the Sightstone. So he's, instead of spending the 800 gold on that, he spent the 750 on the tier, and will still have access to wards in about a couple of minutes.
Yeah, and Mimic's sticking around in this top lane. Actually, the wave positioning, if he leaves, is pretty good for AV, because they're going to be able to build a wave here. However, he sticks around, make sure it hits the turret.
Legacy are looking to
find...
a
4v2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Could look for an engage here, but they don't have a lot other than the Varus ulti, and Clayton's still available on Jake, and Blinky's is coming up very soon.
I mean, I feel like that's just a great read from AV, because what they need to do is they need to get the full clear of bottom side done from Only, so he doesn't fall behind in experience, and then he needs to come top side and get control with that pushing wave. They didn't skip steps this week. We actually heard Swiffer talking about the fact that Order at times
getting to step 3 before doing 2 and 1.
It kills him a lot.
Yep.
So I think that, you know, this is good discipline play from Avant.
What was there? A bit of an engage. Probably looking for number 2. Does land the slow. The flash is still available for Clear, but he does use the stopwatch and flashes away.
Yeah, and I feel like he could have just flashed to safety and instead has to burn both of them. Pabu potentially going to take some damage in response. No, takes none. Good roam out of the Ornn.
Yeah, 100% clear. Loses that summoner, still has a TP available. A bit of an evade on top side.
I mean, this is actually really nice play. As soon as he gets that wave pushed in Frey, he shadows Only into the jungle, allows him to get the deep wards. That's generally your job, right? Normally the sports one that has to step out of lane.
Yeah, not when you're a Nami, swinging things under the turret on the top side though. Only looking to solo out a Rift Child right now. Frey is nowhere to be found, but Legacy do have the vision. They are pinging it out. They do not want to give this one over for free.
Yeah,
it lands.
Sleepy Trouble Bubble actually lands. He uses the stopwatch there. And
the
actually gets flung and ult,
Oh.
as well as massive damage coming out of Zoe. That's first blood picked up. Now, however, that's going to be Sybil, big trouble. Trying to get to the wall, trying to get over. Will not be able to because he hasn't got a flash, and that's actually going to be a double kill. Why is he? He's burnt the stopwatch as well. That is so
He was trying to wait out his cooldown there so he could queue over the back of the wall.
But you can't, because if you stand on top of Sejuani, she goes nowhere.
Yep, banking on the fact that AV weren't going to do that one there. Burns the stopwatch, has no flash available. They did get that pick, but it ends up being a 1 for 2. as Claire and himself both go down.
And I feel like at this point, getting kills onto Sejuani, sure, that's nice. She's a tank and all. Yep. But getting additional gold onto Caitlyn is massive. And Ornn on a TP gets everything. And Mimic on his first TP play got next to nothing.
The opportunity is just the Legacy are taking, not coming out with a victory here for them. Mimic's going to get a little bit of time on this turret in the bot lane, but Pabu's going to make it back. Done absolutely no damage, negligible amount to that turret. And you have to think, we saw this, Chiefs versus Legacy, this matchup multiple times. AV seem like they're comfortable on both sides of it right now. They had success on the Gnar, now they're picking the Ornn into it.
Arguably, is it the fact that they looked at it and said, hey, this is actually impossible to punish.
Yep.
We don't want to play the other side anymore.
Yep.
People think it's a counter internationally. However, within the Oceanic meta, we think it actually is a good matchup for Ornn.
And I mean, they kind of forced Mimic onto the pick as well. They banned away the Camille, they banned away the Gangplank, and his top 3 champions are those 2 plus the Gnar.
Yep.
So they first pick the Caitlyn, knowing that he's going to take away the Gnar for his first game of the OPL ever, not to mention the 2018 season. So first week with Pinch back behind the guys on stage. Very nice draft coming out of AV. Got themselves early advantages here. Bot turret, now top turret will fall.
I mean, this is actually great play. They see bottom lane is... they see the Dragon taken on bottom side of the map, so in top lane, even though they don't have that vision control, they're confident to step up, they're confident to attack the turret. Yep. 2 turrets gone before 13 minutes. This is still pretty good tempo, and they're going to be able to pick themselves up a Rift Herald, which is as useful for breaking Zoe's turret as it is Azir's turret. Zoe instant clears waves, especially because she started with Minion Dematerializer this game. And across the board right now, I would say Avant is playing impressive League of Legends. Yeah,
and I mean, if they can break this mid-outer in a couple of minutes here, they will open the map wide open. And they do have that global pressure from the Rise. They have a lot of pick potential with that Jarvan, with that Ornn.
So this time, however, we have a bottom side of the map, which the push stops at kind of Kate Nami. Like, it's not like we're playing Kha'Zix jungle like we were yesterday. We've got Jarvan, who's a much heavier engage. We've got tank top laner as opposed to a GP. So they can team fight as well.
And I mean, like, this is probably the strategy coming out from AV. They pick this Kate, they pick this Nami, get themselves the early lead, and then instead of transitioning that into a split push composition where they are just trying to take down turret after turret, they're like, hey, we're going to get a gold lead for ourselves. We're going to cement this one and then look to team fight around the objectives, as you say. Legacy, they are a team that's not very proactive in the early game on any iteration of their roster, and we've seen that again this game, where they've kind of just been matching and trading around objectives for the most part.
That's no synergy from the bottom lane. Did you see that? Both pink ward simultaneously.
Right in the bush.
And they drop it after the wave again. I know you had criticism of yesterday for this. Does it matter that it's a cannon trait wave?
Potentially not. Get smited away, but will it do enough damage by itself to clean it up? It does. So they get it anyway. Calculated that damage right there. Legacy lose their 3rd outer ring turret.
And only 15 minutes into the game. This is a massive lead right now. 3,000 gold when you only have 22,000 gold if you're Legacy is a pretty big deal.
100% here. And I do want to talk about this tier for one more moment, because do see it on the Nami, but not on the Taric. I think the meta has evolved to a point where Taric players internationally, we haven't seen too much of him in O so far, a lot more Braum and Tahm Kench, but almost everyone is going for that tier build. So Jake, the adaptation on the Nami is to go, oh, hey, like he's going to build this greedy build. I can pick something ranged as well, punish him in lane, and also match it. So Nami is one of those champions that her W later in the game costs something like 130 mana. If you're casting it 5 times in a team fight, like your mana pool is gone. And so having that tier available is a big deal. He's almost completed his first item here, just about. He's got items in his inventory to be over halfway there. So his next base, probably going to pick that one up.
We'll see a little bit of a tussle down here in the bottom lane. Mimic goes aggressive, but one more time. Pabu is just, I mean...
He doesn't care.
I like the term fridge. However, goes for the engage onto Mimic, gets the knock up, continues with the spike. That's going to knock him up again, and you can see how much damage Mimic is taken. Flash forward. That will be the ultimate 2v2, but however, there is another member heading down. You can see Pabu once it flashes forward, picks up the kill, calculated out of the Avant duo.
And Pinch in his interview saying, we don't care about Mimic. Pabu's going to be absolutely fine. He's looking more than fine right now. Already has that Frozen Heart completed. Gets effectively the 1v1. Both junglers come in. Jarvan does a bit of damage, but Sedge ulti comes out to stop him. Burns the flash to pick up that kill. Mimic goes down.
And if you have a stronger 4, which I would say right now Avant do because of gold. Actually, let's hold that. Talk me through it.
Yeah, we just see this one more again. Pretty standard coming out. Lands the CC. Just waiting for only coming to the back side of this one. We do see Sejuani and Taric coming down the river, so Mimic's trying to buy time. Unfortunately, the Jarvan ulti damage does register for him there. and that does mean he gets low enough for this flash auto to pick him up, and there's nothing Sybil can do right now. Tarek is coming down the river, but no Varus, so even if they can CC them for long enough, Raid will never get there in time.
Yeah, and even though we see a couple of spellbooks on the side of Legacy, they've kind of got rid of the teleport. So, you know, there was no 4 members coming down there. Raid could have potentially TP'd if he had a teleport summon spell. Claire definitely could have TP'd because top lane was shoved all the way in. However, Ghost and Heal respectively, so not any damage threat after the Nile died.
And I do want to mention, in terms of the engage tools available for Legacy, right?
Yep.
You look at it, you have the Tarek stun that'll probably be following up a Sejuani also, right? And they're both actual stuns and just straight CC. Nothing that makes you airborne like an Ali or a Zac. So they're all cleansable CCs. And then they've got triple unsealed spellbook on both of their carries in the Ryze and Kaylin, Nami as well. Yep. And I mean, he's got a Forbidden Idol. See if he goes into that Ardent Sensor, or if he does go for the Crucible for that extra safety. So the carries on the side of AV, if they have that cleanse up, they will withstand the engage from Legacy. It's going to be very hard for Legacy to actually stick to them.
Yeah, for sure. And Ryze is one of those mages that's a little bit strange in the fact that if he's able to be mobile, he's real quick.
Yep.
So quickness is a form of tankiness in my eyes because you dodge skill shots. And then the second thing is, obviously he has the combo off his W that gives him a big shield.
Yep.
So as long as he can get out of CC, he makes himself tankier.
Yep.
And then Caitlyn, of course, with that range. Nami, obviously good range champion as well. They're hard once they get out of the initial CC to be able to take down. So AB look like they're
in a very good position. Yeah, 100% right now. They have this gold lead. Just about 3k here. They're looking to siege this inner turret. Pabu has the control of the side lane, so keeps pushing Mimic in, and he's just floating whilst Mimic has to catch the wave. You get a bit of a chunk on the mid lane, and he's just going to go back and catch that one bot.
And Blinky now has 5 points in that trap, is sticking around, but good safety here. Obviously still has, that's a lot of damage.
Pabu went to try and tank the bubble there, but it didn't land anyway. Blinky still has that cleanse available, so it would have been fine with the use of his summoners.
That might actually cost them a Mountain Drake, although actually, no.
I mean, potentially, yeah. Jake's just sitting on a tier. He's got enough mana regen, has that CDR as well, so just going to heal Blinky back up.
Sorry, guys. I forgot that Nami existed in League of Legends.
It's been a while.
He's full health, by the way.
There's only 2 heals there. I do want to, if we could get the click onto Jake, I want to see what he maxed in the abilities. We're talking about a free game. It's definitely got points in heal.
Yeah.
As the fight's breaking out.
Actually gets the flash there. However, that's going to be the chain CC. And Decoy will go invulnerable, but probably should still fall down here. You can see they don't burn anything extra on him. However, Sleepy Trouble Bubble nails onto the back line. You can see now Mimic is in. Goes Mega, throws them back, although Ryze ulti does get him out. And Mimic now stunned up, nearly falls down. And Avant back on the offensive in this fight. Claire dashing forward actually picks up the carry. And that will be Blinky dead, and Frey and Pabu will just have to run away. Claire is popping off, another Sleepy Trouble Bubble comes out, but will not be able to get it. And the mid laner of Legacy carried that team fight.
The saving grace for Legacy right now. The engage out of Mimic looked good, but the timing just wasn't there as Frey pops the stopwatch Realm Warp to get his team the heck out of dodge there. Claire on the backside, though, weaving those bubbles in between the team fight, ulting over people, paddle stars around the champions. 2-1 and 2. After getting punished a little bit in the lane phase, a few ganks flown his way, but he's looking good.
Yeah, I mean, that was clean.
And that was all him as well.
Yeah, as far as team fights go, not Zoe's strong point. Let's have another look at it.
Yeah, they do burn the Tarek ulti early, and Ornn obviously not unstoppable on this patch, so does get CC, can't buffer it there. His first bubble nets him the kill onto Jarvan, and here we see Mimics engage, right? Frey just sidesteps the Sejuani ulti, so he basically gets his whole team out of that. Jake lends the bubble on the back end of that as well, and here we see Claire. He's got a net another bubble there onto the Ryze, but actually hits Caitlyn with that ulti, and another one coming out on Jake in just a moment. A CC lens from Sybil, popped from 75% HP. And that bubble was close to hitting Frey as well. If that one landed, that would have been a flash out of the Ryze or another death.
Yeah, for sure. Completely agree there. And Blinky actually had summoner spells available in that fight and just did not flash it.
He got one-tapped.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can flash the one-tap. It's only one spell that hits you.
You can. But he didn't think it was coming his way. There was a slept Ryze right next to him. You expect the Zoe to be like, hey, I slept this person. I'm going to fling the paddle star at you.
No, mind games within mind games. Claire knew. Now
bait and
5.
switch.
He also was playing Duo Dade before that.
Yeah.
Was on 0-1-1. Picked up a Dark Seal. Now has 5 stacks.
Now he's chilling. And that's basically, an ulti comes out into
Blinky
Blinky
in
cleanse.
big trouble again. That's going to be the ultimate
Sybil.
flash out of Sybil. Misses it. However, now Mimic on the back line. They turn it around. Sybil in big trouble. Does get Jarvan ulti. That's the tank. Will take a while to die, but in the end will die. And Pabu, airballed it. Now all of a sudden the Rise is on the back line by himself. However, still doing big damage. Decoy goes down before ulti can register. Now Raid is invulnerable. You can see Claire is really trying his best, but he has to flash away. Potential stun going to come out. They continue to chase forward. Mimic with a 3-man ultimate now. Frey still pumping out the damage. Will go 1-for-1. And that is going to be one more time. Blinky put to sleep. See if Claire goes in. Pabu shut down.
They're just not respecting the Zoe right now. Claire won.
Jake has to burn a cleanse as well off screen. Claire is 1v5.
Absolutely 1v5. Mimic tried for the miracle play with that Nair ulti, but just try to keep his raid.
Claire
his
has
AD
flash
carry
on his
alive.
W.
Yep.
I think he could have killed another person if he flashed off his W there.
Yeah, potentially. Didn't opt into it. He's killed enough people right now. 8 stacks on his Dark Seal, and he's literally 1v5 right now. That was a 4v5, and Legacy had 5 members, as we see it once again. But Sybil botches the engage. The Varus ulti goes onto Blinky, but he misses the ult, and then flashes forward anyway. The CC chain comes through, and you do see Rise getting to the fight in just a moment. The Realm Momp's going to come through. Pabu, what was this?
If he hits that, that's fight over.
Yep,
that is
100%.
a 2-man knock-up. Claire probably dies.
Yeah, if they actually get onto Claire, and that's the big thing, that they actually just can't. Raid is the only person in this ulti, so he survives for a little bit. But Mimic on the backside can't really get in. They don't have the damage available. Claire on the Zoe is a very time-based mage there, so if she has the Q available, she can do damage, but there's nothing in between. So Mimic largely just goes down. Claire, he picks up another kill on the back end of this onto Pabu because he just disrespects the amount of damage, thinks he's a tanky on, but Claire says nope.
Well, I mean, he just has no MR, and you see another Sleepy Trouble bubble hits, and Jake has to cleanse that one as well. Oh, Claire actually, in that, has died. So while we were watching the replay, singing his praises, he dies on camera.
He just dies, and that's going to be an inner turret for AV. Pretty back and forth so far. Legacy looking all right, but still in the goal deficit right now. 3,000. AV are looking at the in-hit turret. There's 25 seconds on Claire, and they have the traps.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden, Ornn ulti comes out. This one nails the AD carry. In they go. And Raid is in big trouble. Triple knock-up. Mimic trying to fly onto the back line. Sybil will fall down as well. And this is the entire Legacy lineup absolutely getting decimated. AV will break the base.
And that's the delayed ace. Claire still down 5 seconds. Can he 1v5 the inhib? I think not.
Is that the game? More importantly, that is a huge creep wave, and it will only be Claire up and available if Pabu tanks the Paddle Star. That might just be AV pushing through.
He does. They get onto the Nexus. They're looking for the end here. Do they have enough time? 10 seconds-ish on all the recalls. Pabu tanks another one.
Pabu in big trouble. There is 1 minion left alive to get that Fortify off the turret. You can see they're committing for it. Up come the Legacy members. 3 seconds, however, it does not look like it's going to be enough. They just focus the Nexus. Redemption is coming out. Blinky is still hitting it. Cleanses off his stun, and that will be the Nexus falling. AV take game 1.
The best game this split we've seen from AV. So quick, 23, 24 minutes. Claire dies once. One mistake this game, and Legacy lose off the back of that immediately.
And the ability to stick to the call. AV, they just ride the wave in.
Ride the wave, the literal Nami wave into the base. Oh, what? That was unexpected. That was huge.
I mean, that's a great game out of AV. They falter in the mid game, but early game they stick to the plan. They push down all the turrets. I think they get suckered in because they're a little bit stronger than they think. But then eventually, I think it was actually Rise taking 5 members behind Claire. They got that kill off the back end of a Rise ulti. So amazing play. And Legacy, that's a head scratcher. That's the first game they've lost. And it was with their superstar Korean top laner.
Yeah, it didn't look too good there. Pabu had his number in that counterpick matchup for Mimic, but couldn't get a lot done. Yep. Pabu got his way around the map into those team fights. And I do want to break something down real quick. The Legacy versus AV in that game, I think for the most part, Legacy seemed like they were on different pages there. Mimic coming into fights a little bit later, getting good Nair ultis, but they just weren't as effective. And then you look at AV on that last team fight around the inhib, they're like, look, we killed Claire. He's their strongest member right now, but they all hard commit to the engage right there on the top lane inhib. Get that inhib, get the Nexus all in one go. Looking good.
Yeah, they certainly do. We actually have the Claire death for you if we bring it up onto your screen. This is going to be an interesting one because, yeah, as I said, I think it's just Frey taking everyone.
Yeah, that's a big wave, big juicy wave in the top lane. Claire goes to get it, and that's pretty simple, right? Just Realm Warp, don't burn a whole lot of anything, just have the damage, 4v1, nothing he can do. Mimic's still on the bot side of the map, so
I mean, I'm looking
Just
at
gets
it.
picked.
That's just, I mean, let the wave crash.
Yeah.
Like, stay under your turret.
He had
That's a
time.
huge wave. You had time. I mean, he doesn't need to be that close to farm the wave either. I mean, at the end of the day, Zoe does it from about 2 screens
Yeah, you
away.
can just ulti it. They ulti at the end of the game is on about a 10-second cooldown.
Yeah, so unfortunately, that is what will lose in the game. But I
Damn.
mean, I feel like
Yeah.
just putting it down to one mistake undersells how well Avant played the early game.
Yep.
Because this was a calculated plan they came in with, and they executed it well.
Yeah, and I do want to commend the draft one more time. They put Na in Mimic's hands. They baited that one with the Camille GP.
Yep.
They first picked the Caitlyn, got that first turret so early, switched to top, did what Order kind of faltered with a little bit. They got that turret earlier, and then they start snowballing around the map, take the rift, break open mid, and then, yeah, they faltered a little bit in the mid game where Claire was picking up those kills, but that was just misexecution in team fights, right? And you mentioned they didn't all in on that fast push strategy. They did go for these team fights, and yeah, there was a moment where we're just like, oh, okay, like, is this Legacy's window back into the game? But it was all just going on to Claire, and then they get the pick onto Claire anyway, so it just renders it useless.
Yeah, it certainly did. I do want to put the microscope on Mimic, because maybe not the best first game. Was very solid, I think, around it. But talk to me about how hard it is to adapt to new teammates, and, I mean, especially when they're on the game engaged tool.
I mean, 100% difficult, and we don't know what it's like behind the scenes. He's not a native English speaker. His English is good enough to communicate, obviously, on an English-speaking team, but potentially first game nerves, you know, a little bit. His engages were good, but I mean, if the mid laner wasn't Rise, that first one looks really good, and then it wins Legacy a team fight. And then, I mean, he was just trying to save a really lost team fight with the second one where they swiped him into the red wall. So he looked okay. Didn't get enough of a lead early, I think, for that matchup into the Ornn. I think Ornn is becoming a little bit of a gangplank.
Yeah.
Like we've seen in the OPL. People just blind pick it and then get away anyway. And Ornn, for that game, he counter-picked himself on the side of Pabu into the Gnar, knowing he's going to lose the matchup, but it just didn't matter, right? Like, Mimic just couldn't do enough.
Yeah, and you saw his impact in that last team fight. Pabu coming up, absolutely massive. However, to break that game down a little bit further, let's throw it back to Laura and Rogue.
Thanks, guys. Yes, I'm here with Rogue to talk about some elements of that game. And wow, a 24-minute.
What happened?
Yeah, I'd almost call it a stomp, a very confident-looking AV team. Pinch said in the interview that they've been practicing Caitlyn and Nami. Nami's only been played once so far in the LMS, and they lost that game. But why do you think she's so good in this meta at the moment?
Oh, like, Nami's like a really good disengaged support, so it just does like a really good job into all the big bruiser, beefy meathead supports that are like there now, that just walk at you really slowly and try and like lick you and eat you and whatever else. But like, she's really good with Caitlyn, so it's kind of like the same thing. It's just like budget Jarma with like a big fish flying around. So you just kind of walk around and heal people instead of shielding them, I guess. Just if it applies Ardent Sensor, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. We also saw 6 unsealed spellbooks this game. This seems a bit OP. We're seeing it a lot throughout the split. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, I actually thought that was so smart with AV taking the unsealed spellbook. That's something that like I discovered. I'm not gonna say I started it because I'm an idiot. But like, yeah, you take unsealed spellbook into Varus, and like you can just like TP back to lane if you like mess up level 2, whatever. But then like the real pressure is like level 5, you like base and you like swap it to cleanse, and then like you just walk up to Varus and it's like, hey dude, you don't have 4 abilities anymore because your ult's like big piece of poo. So you just do whatever the hell you want. You just walk up and hit the tower. So they just allowed them to just play like idiots, I guess. So they just get the early tower and then walk around, and they can't actually get engaged on.
Looking at Legacy, we saw Claire picking up Zoe in the mid lane. He got some good picks as Zoe, but I wanted to talk about Order and Zoe because you said Zoe's a bit of a meme on your team. What's the go with that?
Oh yeah. So Swiffer, when he picked up that champion, he had a few troubles. He was bloody flying around, hopping into walls and shooting his stars into grumps and whatnot. Like he'd always like would water your team fight, and he'd be like, look at my paddle star, the wolf got it, or something like that. I don't know how it got to wolves. We're fighting in the river. It's like, why did you bring the wolves there? I don't know what he's doing, but then he got really good at Zoe, and like now is one of his best champs. But it's like it's still a meme that he's really bad at it. So he just like, oh no, Simon's playing Zoe, and then he goes 13-0, and you're just like, damn it, he's picking Zoe again. No.
Even though he's doing good, it's still a bit of a
then he
soft
carries
spot.
me, like always.
Looking at this next game, what do Legacy need to do to turn this around?
So like that game, just with like the comps, it was like one of those cases of like, AV played this real slow, methodical like style of just like really slow and boring and like really smart. And Legacy is spending the whole time like, can you like please fight us? We're so bored. Like, let us do something. AV like, no, we're just gonna do nothing. So they need to ramp it up. Like when we were playing the Janacon, which is like essentially the same thing, time was like flashing at my head. I didn't know what to do. You just need to flash at their heads and just hope that they just feel pressure. Because like, you just got to play like a madman. Because otherwise they're just going to take your towers. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for your thoughts, Rogue. But don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to have game 2 between Avant and Legacy coming up right after this break.
The stopwatch there. And actually gets plug and ult as well as massive damage coming out of Zoe. That's first blood picked up. Flash forward. That will be the ultimate 2v2. But however, there is another member heading down. You can see Parbu wants to flash it forward. Picks up the kill. Player dashing forward actually picks up the carry. And that will be Blinky dead, and Bray and Parbu will just have to run away. Claire is popping off. Another Sleepy Trouble bubble comes out. Sybil in big trouble, does get Jarvan ulti. That's the tank. Will take a while to die, but in the end will die. And Parbu airballed it. Now all of a sudden the Rise is on the back line by himself. However, still doing big damage. Decoy goes down before ulti can register. Now this one nails the 80 carry. In they go. And Raid is in big trouble. Triple knockup. Mimic trying to fly onto the back line. Sybil will fall down as well. And this is the entire Legacy lineup absolutely getting decimated. AV will break the base. And that's the 3 seconds. However, it does not look like it's going to be enough. They just focus the Nexus. Redemption is coming out. Blinky is still hitting it. Cleanses off his stun. And that will be the Nexus falling. AV take game 1.